Oh. Hey Joe, heard you gone with your gun in your hand. Hey Joe, wait. Hey Joe, I heard you something with something in your hand. Yeah. Oh. I like that. This took me a long time to learn. So it's only like two da-da-das, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I just think it was three, but it's two because it's that 3 beat, the 6 hexatonic scale. So when you're doing it, it's threes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, At least that's how, and the whole thing's a 6, and then it all adds up to the 12. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But you can skip it, so that's how you come up with it. You go 1, 2, 3, skip, and then bring it up. You know what I'm saying? And that's 6. So then for a full set, it's 12. So 2 of those things plays a full set. And then if you were to do 4 of those whole 12s, then that would be like a whole bar, so that you could remember to repeat patterns. So the first 2 are the same, the third one's different, a little different, and then the last one comes back to the the same pattern as first 2. I don't know, playing it's hard to do when you're playing and just feeling it out. You know what I mean? As I'm learning more, though, I'm feeling like I have more control over what I want to do, and I'm less subject to just the fate of playing whatever happens, and just like, I'm trying to bar, 1, 2, 4, what is that, a 3 and 4, and I'm trying to hit 4, but I accidentally hit 3, and it makes it cool sound, but I didn't mean it to happen, but I'm starting to feel a little more control over those things. Curious if I should play with a pick. I don't know, I play with my finger. It seems like it works fine, But yeah, I don't know, I'm just feeling out the rhythms of it and seeing what sounds right, because, I think tend to play in an A minor 7 scale. I think that's what I'm playing in an E, because I like those sounds the most. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, right? And then the third one's different. Comes back to it, and that's the whole, 4 sets of 12, It's interesting how you can play around with that. I find it's hard sometimes to commit to just playing something, and I get stuck up on which fingers I'm moving, so that it sounds more like, rather than, because sometimes I double hit the strings and sometimes I don't, and that's really just more feel of what I want that sound like in that moment, it's interesting. And the reason this is a big deal, and I don't think I'm good at the guitar at all, by the way, but it's because I just learned the whole scaling and the sound system. You know what I mean? And the sound I like works, even though it's not. It's a little off the major stuff, rather than going up 4. It's just going up 3. See, that's a full. But then, you go down the 3rd string, it's different. Yeah. Something like that. But I do skip. Oh, fucking cable is always fun. When I was a little boy, my mama told me so. Don't you go playing on your own. What I know now is what I didn't know then. Everything is different, so it gets a different rhythm. Playing on your own can open your eyes to a whole different world with a whole disguise of its own. Baby, oh child of mine, don't fret as they're right. Keep your eyes closed. Just don't look yet. I'm alive. I'm alive for you. Keep your child to yourself and give it brand new. Yeah. I don't know what that line meant, but it sounded kind of good. And it rhymed. Where did the time go? You've grown up so fast. Your eyes are so open, my soul. How many streets have you walked? How many miles on those shoes have you gained over the years? Yeah. I've seen the hills and mountains, yeah. And I've climbed to the highest peaks and back down. And all the while I thought I was becoming something that I already I don't know what the last line to that would be, but anyway. Where did the lost time go? Mountains saw the buildings and roads. Oh. See, it sounds different with the cable. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and take the wrong part of the song. Take these broken wings and take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. There it is. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. This is it. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Something like that. Wait, let's do it. See, sometimes you just lose it. It's good to have different things on the guitar to rotate between, so that during sessions you don't get tired. Because sometimes I get sick of, I just get tired of it. I can't hear the sound anymore, and I need to take a break and then come back. But yeah, you lose it, and it's like, where was I? Fuck. It's so not difficult to be able to express yourself in this way with only using like 2 bars, the 2 bars, and a couple strings. It doesn't got to get too complicated, Yeah, I heard a guy say that yesterday in this video I was watching, and it just like, wow, that's really true. Because a lot of times when you ruin a rhythm, it's because you're trying to jump somewhere else, and it's like, fuck. You're not absolutely positive it's going to work, but it's like if you stay within those, the little world you create for that rhythm, the container, if you will, then you can just keep jumping around and keep making it sound fun. But as soon as you, try to extend the boundaries of that container to something else, you don't know if it's going to mesh right, unless you absolutely already know it's going to mesh right because you've done it before, and, you've been able to attach those 2 different containers to make one, containers of sound, right? Yeah. Wait. That's a nice little triangle. I know, just through playing like this, I can kind of get an idea of what a root note is, because it's like that. It's the note you always return back to lock in a harmony, to lock in like a harmonic, connection of sounds or notes. It's that root note you bring it back to. So even in this, right? Wait, where was I? I don't even remember what I was just playing. But anyway, it's a 3. Your first note, the one that starts it off, is the one that's going to end it. It's going to bring it in and keep it home. And it's one you're going to come back to when you need it to feel like you're bringing the rhythm home, in the song. You just, yeah, I think that's what it sounds like. Yeah, okay, so here it is. I found it again. This one. Okay, yeah. So it's that one. You would keep bouncing back and forth. So if you're going to go in either direction of that note, it's got to be, you got to remember, I need to keep it balanced for the whole thing, the song to make sense, like up and down from it, unless I'm just leaning to one side, higher notes or lower notes. And then I need to make sure that I'm connecting back to that note regularly to keep the sound where I want it, unless I'm trying to take it somewhere else. Right? It makes sense, doesn't it? That's what it sounds like. Maybe I'm wrong. I think that's music theory. I don't know. But so even though I started here, it would be this one. So because I'm sliding up. Doesn't it just sound like it's bringing it home when you're doing it? With that entry to bring it in. Oh wait, I was playing it different. Sorry. That's interesting, because it made, even though it's using the same notes, it made it sound like a different one was the root because of the rhythm I was using, or the melody. I switched it for a second. And yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the root note could probably change based on the rhythm, or maybe I could decide what it is, and that's how I kind of decide the song, right? Or the rhythm. Yeah, I don't know. Really have no idea what I'm doing when I do that yet. It's just like looking at it and saying, which direction? You want to go lower? Do we want to go higher? Or do I want to be savory? I feel like this is savory, closer to the neck but up top, Because it's like high bass, you know what I mean? I'm playing off center of it, so I'm playing minor chords, I think, or just different scale. That's it, yeah. Wait. falling and I'm turning gray again. Second time this week, and I've learned nothing from the last time I fucked up everything. It's so demeaning to myself. Everybody around me's looking, I'm thinking that it's over again, and I can't think of anything else in my head to say, so I just wanna drown now. If I made it up just to get off my ass, I can't think of anything else that would help except something else, something I've never known, something out there, something that's not alone. I can't think of anything else, so I'll sit here, play on my guitar for what seems like 10 years, yeah. I can't think of anything else except 2000s alternative, I think. Oh yeah. Advertisement for Monster. Please sponsor me. I mean, what better thing to do on, well, it's Monday afternoon, but technically it's my Sunday. So what better thing to do? Sit around and play the guitar, you know? Yeah, this is where we're at. You know, I have nothing else to do. I mean, it's kind of like being an adult. I guess slowly over the years, you build up lots of things to do, like as you get older. And then you get to a certain age where you're like, fuck that. And then so you spend a few years getting yourself to a place to where you feel really good about yourself, and the boring life is really, really deeply satisfying because there's no chaos, you know. It's great. At least that's what I've found. You know, as I get older, it's just, it's too much, dude. You know, it's just everything. Just stay at home, watch TV. You know, or stay home, you know, do a little doodah on the guitar. Something, take a walk. Yeah, but sometimes that runs into the boundaries of getting a little too isolated. You know what I mean? Gotta be careful. So it's good to put yourself in a position to not be isolated. Some people, going to work is plenty, you know, fills them up. They have to work with other people. You know, some people, like myself, I do like to have a community of people who are not, you know, who I'm intimately connected to, right? So it's few deep relationships. Yeah, I actually haven't had any relationships like that in a very long time. It feels like maybe not a very long time, but I don't know. I'm sure you guys can relate. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's like the great, you know, washing away, right? The flood, you know, the deluge, you know, of one's life, and the washing away to start anew, you know, and that involves periods of just, you know, not having a deep relationship with anybody except myself and my relationship with my higher power, my relationship with God. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, it's like, what is God to me? Is it, in a tangible sense? I understand that at least I feel like the essence of God would be God in my life, right? But so the essence in that sense is kind of like the tangible thing, even though it's not tangible, but that would be like the it of it, you know, the it of God, the essence. You know, it's like, what is that? If you were to look around, you know, where would you find it? You know, because they talk about how the kingdom of God is within you, right? And so in a different sense, it's like, you know, looking around oneself, it's like, where does one find God outside of himself? And then where does one find God inside of himself as well. Because that's not a state that it's easily to hold on to. I can conceptualize what that's supposed to be to find, but to find an emotional state to match that is not something that's I think it's natural. Because if God does exist, right, I don't necessarily know if he would be subject to the same emotions that make us human, right? It would be more of a pure truth, that we exist within the container of, right? And which makes sense why things like worship are what they are, because they're a person physically manifesting their trust in something that they cannot grab, So they want to do something physical to make that belief, to externalize that belief, to express that belief to be true, and that's why worship makes sense. Gratitude makes sense. It's expressing what's inside of yourself, and in a way, by way of gratitude, right? I don't know. That's just an interesting topic because, you could say he's in the air we breathe. You could say he's, under our feet when we're walking through the grass. We're walking with us or behind us or in front of us. We can't see it underneath a shaded path or something. I don't know. Sun worship was really big for a long time, and I'm not telling people to worship the sun, but you can see why. It's that radiating, life-giving energy, and you can feel it on you, and you can interact with the sun by way of feeling it shine on you. And so it is like, God, thank you so much, because what singular point is supposed to receive the gratitude that I feel for the beliefs, for the things I believe to be true of, the providence there, the loving, there's a loving supportive force in the universe that is, tending to us, taking care of us in a sense, and out for our highest good, right? I think that's important. I do deeply believe that. And so if that's true, then I do need to give gratitude to that. And through that gratitude that I express and allow myself to express, I feel the presence of it more. But only when I'm actually expressing the gratitude. It's interesting dynamic. It becomes more real to me as the more I talk about it, the more I make it real, by expressing gratitude for this, this belief, this construct that I've created because of what I believe to be true, it's important to do that, I think, because, it's like when you're never really alone, you're never really alone. You always have, God with you. You always have that higher part of yourself that you can, fall short in expressing true sentiment of that philosophically. And because it's a big one. It's a big one. And anything else might just be a word salad. So I don't know. That's how I feel that ended. My sister was doing this thing yesterday here. All right, I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just a good old Monday. We got shit to do because we're saving our money. This is a treat, but yeah, saving money's important. You know, I think one of the biggest things that's ever really held me back was saving money's not something I ever prioritized highly. I never really felt like I deserved money, you know, I don't know. I feel like I had to earn it. And so I've always put myself in situations to where that were shitty because I felt like, yeah, that's where I was at, you know. And I still feel that way. I should earn my money. But there's nothing wrong with taking the long way around in life. There's really not. I mean, there can't be anything wrong with it. That's the way I took. I feel, I'm fine. Everything's fucking great. Most people in history did not get married and have kids. They didn't. They didn't get rich. You know, they didn't. Most people, most human beings, and we all have our own incredibly unique and significant, story that we can narrate. Right? That one does narrate constantly while they're alive. Doesn't make it any less significant than somebody who's like, going more on a dogmatic path, right? Just, the structure of family, kids, all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. And that's just the world that we're living in. I mean, yeah, I think it is more normal actually to live not like that comparatively. I mean, maybe over the course of like the 20th century, we've with modernization of technologies and stuff, things becoming easier. It was like, what are the core values, and they shifted to, familial values. I don't know how to say that, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's like all the great people in history that we always read about. They didn't do that. I mean, that wasn't the focus of what makes them so great. I don't know. And really, it only takes a moment for us to consider somebody great. You could somebody could do one great thing and then it would, wash away the sins of their entire life, I mean, Julius Caesar, right? He won. That's why it made him look so good. There's plenty of like historians over the years who've hated him and not reported the stories in the same way as historians who are favorable towards him did. His history's, written by the winners. Yeah, that's for sure. But, it's written by the winners in the end, right? So it's not if the story's not over, then you don't know who's going to write the history. You know what I mean? Because history can always be rewritten from the present. Yeah. I mean, and that's really true, I mean, if you rewrite some things, though, they'll probably give you nightmares. Because the truth is the truth. However, we can spin the perception of things to rewrite what happened, from a state of more understanding. So from a state of overstanding, right, the past, it can be rewritten 100%. As long as somebody wants to. If you don't want to, for one reason or another. Well, it's it's like holding on to your character defects because they do serve a purpose. That's like exactly it. Why would you want to rewrite something that reaffirms your perception of reality so much that it makes you feel safe? And of course you want to feel safe. And the stories that we have make us feel safe or they don't. I don't know. I think a lot of growth comes from living in a state of being uncomfortable for long periods of time because of my belief systems, right? And not changing my beliefs to fit the life that I live to make me satisfied with where I am. Um, because now over time I've learned to continue that pursuit of the life that I want without seeking the results of it, and that has been the ticket. I have a standard for myself that I've built up over the years, and I've in a work ethic, and if I just express that continuously wherever I'm at, and not worry about money, not worried about what I'm getting back, eventually I think I'm gonna learn how to liquidate that effort of mine, right? I just don't know how to do it yet. I'm not a hustler. I've never been a hustler. I was raised to be a nice guy, you know what I mean? Not a good guy. Those two things were really conflated. Like, I wasn't raised like that. So I'm learning them at a later state, and now I have nice teeth. And so it's just a whole different world for me, it's just taken some time for me to catch up to that, the way people treat me based on the way I look now, you know what I mean, is so much different. But with that comes like a responsibility to myself to act accordingly, and I think that's just a part of growing up. I'll be completely honest. I don't think I'm special. I think it's really just a part of growing up. Like, as you get older, you wear your experiences, and as you wear those experiences, people will see you and treat you as such. They judge you based on your appearance, how you hold yourself, how you talk, and all that stuff. And then they will treat you as such, and as a person, who is in that process of, becoming a more, just an older person, right? It's not, fancy or unique, but just becoming an older person is realizing that I have a responsibility, that now I am an older person, and I am around 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds, and I cannot act the same because I have to set a good example, right? Ever since COVID, it's like things are just different. They're slow, they're terrible, they're dirty. I don't know. I guess this is me talking about work. And it's not just where I'm at now. I think where I'm at now is great. But it's just all over the place, everywhere you go. It's just, shit's different. It's not like it was. And so, but it's me as a 35-year-old, I have a responsibility over how I act to set an example so that 20 years from now, these kids will have 20 years of example of a generation of people who are acting differently, and I don't want to speak poorly about anybody, but, to build this like strength of generation back up. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just where we are. Like as me as a person, and us as people who are becoming older, more responsible, we have to set the example of like conduct, right? We have to live what we believe to be true, so that example is set. And that does not come along with money, because with the rise of the internet is giving everybody this sense of doom and gloom, because none of us make enough money, because none of us live in San Francisco, or none of us live in Los Angeles or New York or Chicago, and have the epicenters of all of the media, and have been the epicenters of the media for the longest time. We don't live there, most of us, so but that's the standard that we watch, all these people like all the time online, right? And it's I don't know, it's diminishing thing, and it's making us weak. And in 20 years we're going to be in a different place, and it's up to us to act accordingly and be supportive, and mainly just like come from a place of compassionate teaching, trying, like looking at it like, okay, I have a solid set of harmonious beliefs, right? And the world around me is full of chaos, right? How can I live in my righteousness without living in self-righteousness, right? And embody that, to live in righteousness, which is right. And do that in a teaching manner, in a slow teaching manner, which involves more listening than talking, That's It's really important, because we've got all of these younger kids now who are coming up, and they're just a different. I'm not saying they're bad. That's not what. There's nobody up at the top who's telling them that, like, yeah, dude, you're a human being. You're worth something, because there's so much like infighting. I don't know if that makes sense. But it just seems like nobody's being the adult. It's just chaos and drama. And there's nobody who's just going to shut the fuck up and let somebody win a couple of battles intentionally so that they can win the war. Like, you got to win every battle and prove somebody wrong every single time. That's not how you win long term. Like, you win by influencing the people who are against you to come to you. And you do that by letting them win and letting them live in their victory in sadness, because the belief system that is causing them to oppose you is not rooted in goodness. It's rooted in, and you see that. So you let them win and let them live in that and smile and love them and let them do whatever, and don't rub it in their face, and let them come around one at a time. And I'll tell you, the media machine will be the last one to come around. The media machine. People will come before the media switches and starts telling you they're coming. The tides turn towards goodness before it's reported that goodness is being, winning out. Like, that's just, it has to be, and you could see that with your own two eyes. Your own two eyes. Trust those, because for the most of us, if we don't live in these epicenters, you can trust that, man. There's harmony in a lot more places than we think there are, Anyway, hope you guys have a good day.